Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm your host for Tuesdays here on the Pagan Perspective. This week we are answering a question suggested by Yucca because we always try to put in some team member suggested topics every now and again. And a long time ago, like sometime last year, I asked everyone on the team to come up with questions, topic suggestions, like as we think of them. And Yucca just gave us like a huge long list. So there's still plenty more left on the list. So that's why we've been doing so many of those and so many that come from me. And the one that we are doing this week is we get to flip the script of how this channel works. And this week, instead of us answering questions submitted by the viewers or by fellow team members who are also viewers, we get to ask you questions. So I really debated about how I wanted to do this video. I didn't want it to end up feeling like I was just conducting a survey, like just asking you a bunch of like demographic related questions, although that's the kind of stuff that I tend to be really interested in. I like to know things like that. So I thought about asking things like of you as the viewers of this channel, like where are you all from? Like what's the variety that's, of the people who watch this channel? But I kind of wanted to stay away from that because I didn't want it to just sound like I was doing a survey. So I wanted to give a little variety. I wanted to come up with 5. That was the idea I had in my mind, that since I'm just going to be asking questions, I'm not going to answer the questions. Of course, I'm coming up with this introduction of my thought process and how I did it, so it's still going to be a longer video because of that. But I'm just asking you questions, and that by nature does not take nearly as long. So I wanted to come up with 5 since I thought I would have the time. And I also was thinking about this because last week's topic was about tips and advice and suggestions for starting your own pagan themed YouTube channel. And one of the things we were talking about was not knowing what topics to do. So I didn't want to mention it last week and spoil what the topic was this week, but this week can actually potentially go along really well with that from last week. So any of you who have been thinking like, I want to do videos about topics and I don't know what to do topics on, not only can you do any of the topics that we've ever covered on Pagan Perspective and find out what other people are making videos on and make responses to them or do your own perspective on it, and you can always do things like book reviews and movie reviews and event reviews if you're going to events. You can talk about a dream that you had. There's just a ton of stuff that you can talk about. But also, any of these questions that we're asking you this week can potentially be some good video topics for you. So if you are someone who wants to make videos, that would be a great way to answer these questions. Or you can also just answer the questions in the comments below. So without further ado, that was the incorrect usage of that phrase. Without further ado. It's not adieu. It's ado. I can't believe I just did that. Crazy. Anyway, so I came up with 3 questions. Pardon any noises in the background. I came up with 3 questions that are kind of things that are pertinent to my life right now and things that I'm wondering and things that I would love to know a wider audience's just little idea of. So the first one is, what is your favorite thing to study that has to do with your spiritual path? So I originally was going to write down like, what's your favorite thing to study within paganism or neo-paganism, but not everybody, even though this is Pagan Perspective, I know that not everyone who watches this channel necessarily identifies as a pagan or considers their path to be pagan or neo-pagan more accurately. But I just identify as a pagan, even if technically the term neo-pagan fits more. We just shorten it among ourselves because we know what we mean. But yeah, so I wanted to open that up and for those of you who watch this channel to learn about paganism, but maybe you don't consider yourself part of paganism, I want you to be able to answer this question too. So whatever your spiritual or religious path is, what is your favorite thing to study within that realm? I'll just leave it there. I don't want to give any suggestions and lead anyone a certain way. Interpret that as you will. What about your spiritual path that can be studied is your favorite thing to study? You might also think of this as one of the typical like Harry Potter questions of like what would be your favorite subject at Hogwarts, or what would you be most excited to study at Hogwarts. So that kind of thing. You might think of it as a what's your favorite subject in magic school kind of thing if you want. So that's the first one. Second, what is your favorite thing about where you live? What's your favorite thing about where you grew up or where you currently live, or both? What are some pros about it? And that can be related to your path, or it can just be related to your life in general, not specific to your spirituality. Although, of course, those are very intermingled things. What's your favorite thing about where you live? And that comes out of a conversation that I was having with one of my friends earlier, because we're from different areas of the country. And we were talking about, like, so what is there to do around where you live? And, like, what's cool about it? And what kind of things did we think that the other person would be really interested in if they were to visit? So I like this question because it also tells me where you're from. So I still get to know that, but also a little bit more about it and what makes it special to you. Why do you like it? The third question is a little bit self-serving because this has to do with something that my partner and I have been discussing a lot, and some of our future plans for online content. But so I definitely want to know these things because it'll help me get an idea of what people are interested in and like what's going on. But it also might let me know a little bit more of something we have in common that isn't directly related to spirituality necessarily. So this is something that my partner and I do a lot in our free time. The question is, do you play any games? Do you like gaming in any regard? That can be card games, board games, tabletop games, video games, computer games, any other type of console or platform gaming. Just so part one is, do you play games? If so, what kind? Second part of that is, if you do, what games do you like? What are your favorite games? What kind of games do you like? And because this is something that I am just now like kind of getting to know more about, the third part of the question for those of you who do play games is, do any of you use Discord? Do any of you have a Discord account / follow people on Discord, and like what do you like about it? Because it's something that my partner uses that I'm like, it's a whole new world that I'm like just learning about. So yeah, do you play any games? What kind of games do you like? And just for me, as someone getting to know that part of the world, I think that some of you might already know a lot about it and could teach me. So Discord. And then the last two questions I have for you actually are two of the questions that we gave as possible questions for people to answer in their auditions for the new substitute positions, which I will give a little note about that at the end of this video as well. So I think that two of the questions that we had come up with, I believe one of them was from Angelo and one of them was from Danny. And there were four or five different questions that people could use for their audition video. These are two of them. I think that these are really simple, but also rather illuminating questions and very interesting. So I just wanted to throw these out there as the other two because it is something that I would ask people. We already did if you were auditioning, but even if you weren't, I'd still like to hear your answers. And also for people who are looking for potential topics for your own videos or blog posts or anything like that, I think these are two great suggestions. So the one that came from Angelo, I think, was what books have helped you on your path? So that could end up being a book review type video or just a list of multiple books that have helped you on your path, whatever your specific path is. And then I believe this question is the one that came from Danny, is what does ritual look like in your path? If your path includes something that you would describe as a ritual, what does that look like for you? And obviously, it's okay if there are multiple different types, because for me, it depends on what type of ritual you're talking about. But yeah. So to recap quickly, what's your favorite thing to study related to your spiritual path or within your path? What's your favorite subject or thing to study? Favorite thing about where you live? Do you play any games? Are you a gamer? What kind of games do you like? What books have helped you on your path? And what does ritual look like for you in your path? Those are your questions. Go forth and answer them or not, whatever you want. Last thing I just wanted to note is obviously we are all still waiting on bated breath to hear about the new substitutes who will be joining us at the end of this month. At the time that I am recording this, we have not contacted any of the auditionees. So if you are some of those people who have auditioned, thank you for your patience. Please continue to be patient for just a little while longer. We are wrapping things up or like beginning to actually, complete our deliberation process. We're beginning to complete. I don't really know how to describe that in a way that makes sense without giving you all the details. But I've watched all the videos now. We've watched all the videos. We're starting to make our decisions, and then I think we're gonna have to wrap that up by the end of this week, because then of course we will be needing to reach out to the people who are going to be offered the substitute positions, and we need to give those people time to accept and read through our team agreements and learn how things work and how they're going to make their first video, and then their first videos would be supposed to be next week. Crap. I think we're going to have to wrap this up. Yeah. So I just realized. I thought there was another week in between. Dang it. All right. Well, we will figure it out very shortly. Thank you for your patience. And as always, the first video is going to be an introduction. So as long as you're ready to talk about yourself and introduce yourself for your first video, there's nothing you have to study up on for the first video. I'm not going to throw a book report at you the first time or anything. So yeah, so we're figuring that out. Thank you so much for your support, all of you, those of you who have auditioned, and also just everyone else here, the viewers. And I will see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.